If you're making $200,000 in roofing sales and still feel broke at the end of the year, you're not bad with money. You're just missing a system. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to build. What's up, Roof Money Pros? Mike here with Roof Money Pro, and my mission is to help roofing professionals like you maximize your careers and build real wealth. Quick, if you're new here, hit subscribe right now. This channel exists for one specific person, the rep who's closing deals, stacking commissions, running hard, and still looking at the bank account at the end of the year, wondering where the hell it all went. That's exactly who this is for. Now, $200,000 a year, that's not nothing. And yeah, a lot of you have been dropping in the comments like $180,000 just doesn't feel like much anymore. Honestly, that's a fair observation. Inflation is real, cost of living is brutal, and six figures doesn't stretch the way it used to. But here's the truth. $200,000 is still a serious income. Most Americans never get there. So if you're earning it and still feeling financially stressed, the income is not the problem. Something else is going on. And that's exactly what this video is all about. Stick with me because at the end, there's one specific shift that takes reps from making $200,000 to actually keeping it. Most people miss it completely. Here's a guy we're talking about. Rep making close to $100,000 a year in roofing sales. Solid money by any measure, but when you got into his actual numbers, he was barely covering his monthly bills, scraping by, and everyone around him assumed he was doing great based on what he drove and the gear he carried. After a lot of digging in our private session, you know what the culprit was? Tech gadgets. Not one big splurge, not some reckless investment gone wrong, just a slow, steady drip. Latest phone, newest laptop, drone, wireless earbuds, smart home devices, fancy computer hardware, new tablet, over and over. None of it ever felt like a big deal in the moment, but together, it was quietly swallowing up his income whole. And the scary part, he had zero awareness it was happening at that magnitude. That's the income illusion. High income and actual wealth are not the same thing. One is a number on your commission check, the other is what's left after everything else takes its cut. And here's what makes it worse. There's a concept called relative deprivation. Humans don't measure financial success against some objective standard. They measure it against the people around them. There are decades of research behind this. People consistently lower satisfaction when they compare upward, even when their actual income increases. So if your circle is full of guys always sporting new stuff and upgraded lifestyles, your brain starts signaling you're falling behind, even when you're not. Add in real inflation, eating into purchasing power, and you get this perfect storm, earning well, but feeling behind. Here's something that seems obvious at first, but nobody warns you about when going into commission sales. The income is never smooth. And I know firsthand what it feels like to crush it one month, be on a hot streak, feeling completely unstoppable, and then face plant the next month wondering what the heck happened. That mental whiplash hits different, and it's an ego check for sure. One month you're clearing $25,000, next month is $6,000. Same skills, same market, just the natural wave of commission-based income. And here's the problem. Your brain literally can't tell the difference between a slow month and a financial emergency. Research from the Urban Institute tracking thousands of households found that income volatility is one of the strongest predictors of financial stress, even when average income is high. And here's the crazy part. Volatility actually stresses people out more than low income does in many cases. Think about that. It's not even about how much you make. It's about how unpredictable it feels. So when the pipeline slows down, even for 2 weeks, your nervous system hits the panic button. And panic financial decision-making leads to bad moves. Draining savings, skipping investments, or spending freely during big months because the good times feel permanent when you're in them. This next one is the sneakiest trap of all because it doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens one completely reasonable decision at a time. New truck because the old one had miles on it and it just feels like it's about that time. Upgraded apartment because you work hard and deserve a nicer place. A few more subscriptions, better gym, nice dinner stop being a treat and start being every other day. Along with grabbing food in between appointments daily because it's more convenient. Every single decision, totally justifiable on its own. But there's a behavioral science concept called hedonic adaptation. Sounds like a torture method, but all it really means is when humans get used to things fast. Kind of like when you're on a highway speeding, but it doesn't even feel like you're going faster than the speed limit anymore. Studies show most people return to the baseline level of happiness within months of a lifestyle upgrade. It just becomes the new normal, which means the cost stays, but the satisfaction doesn't. The upgrade stops feeling like an upgrade and now just the new floor you live on. There's also research from Princeton showing that after a certain income level, more money doesn't increase day-to-day happiness, but But higher fixed expenses absolutely increase stress. Listen to that again. More income won't fix this, but higher expenses will definitely make it worse. And then there's something I learned about years ago while studying behavioral finance called mental accounting. Behavioral economists have shown that people are far more likely to spend irregular income like bonuses rather than predictable paychecks, even when the dollar amounts are exactly the same. Commission feels like extra money, so it gets spent like extra money, but it's not extra, it's your income. Once your lifestyle locks in at a higher level, your fixed expenses rise with it. And now you need those big commission months just to stay even. It's kind of like a noose that slowly tightens up on you. The lifestyle didn't feel like a trap going in, but it absolutely is one. Here's the bigger story. Most reps don't have an allocation system. Money comes in, money goes out, and whatever's left at the end of the month is loosely what got saved. That's not a financial plan, that's hope with a bank account. Earning money and deploying money are two completely different skill sets. Most roofing reps are excellent at the first one and have never been taught the second. Without a system, every single financial decision is reactive. Big check hits, you feel good, then spend freely. Slow month hits, you panic, then make rush calls. Nothing is anchored. And when there's no structure, there's no control. And when there's no control, there's no peace, regardless of what the income number says. Let me ask you something, and answer this honestly. If someone handed you $20,000 today, could you tell me exactly where every dollar would go before you touched it? Or would you figure it out as you go like most reps do? Because that answer right there tells you everything about where you are financially, regardless of what you earned last year. There's a reason so many professional athletes go broke. It gets talked about constantly, but the actual root cause, rarely discussed. These are people earning tens of millions of dollars who still make financial decisions rooted in old habits, old fears, an old identity that never evolved to match their income. The income upgraded, the habits didn't. This is identity lag, and it hits roofing reps the exact same way. You went from $45,000 to $180,000 in 2 years, but your internal financial operating system still running the same $45,000 version of you. Different income, same decision framework, impulse buys, avoiding financial planning because it feels overwhelming. The deep belief that money should be spent when it's there because it might not be there tomorrow. That's not logic. That's a survival habit from your old version of yourself that never got upgraded. And here's the truth. You have to learn to manage a little before you can manage a lot. In sports, it's normal for a 22-year-old athlete to be handed $40 million and expect them to just figure it out. It's kind of the same in roofing sales. No one is talking about this in team meetings or performance reviews. In fact, despite the general consensus that you can do very well in roofing sales, it's still a taboo subject to discuss money, even in private. The skill of managing money has to be built intentionally. And if it wasn't built on the way up, the money will find its way out, one way or another. This is the exact reason so many people in this industry carry around the false belief that roofing is just feast or famine, like it's some unavoidable fact of the business. But feast or famine isn't a roofing problem, it's a reserves problem. There's a concept in psychology called loss aversion. What this means is that humans feel losses about twice as intensely as they feel equivalent gains. So even when you're having monster months, your brain is already wired to dread the next drop. That's not weakness, that's neuroscience. And when there's no financial buffer in place, that feeling of dread is completely justified because one bad month could genuinely derail everything. When you have no cushion, no emergency fund, no savings runway, every single deal you close carries survival weight. You need the commission, and that pressure changes everything. How you sell, how you show up, how you treat your customers. Over time, it grinds you into that burnout cycle where you're working harder every year but still feeling fragile every slow week. High earners without reserves aren't financially free. They're financially trapped at a higher altitude. All right, this is the part I told you to stick around for. This is the shift that was promised at the beginning of this video. Here it is. You don't rise to your income, you fall to your system. That's it. That's the shift most reps never make. And until that lands, no amount of income fixes the problem. So here's the system. 4 power moves in order that you can take action on today. Step 1, build your buffer first. Before anything else, 3 to 6 months of fixed expenses sitting in a separate account. Not a brokerage account, not tied up anywhere, liquid, accessible, done. Eventually, you want to be 6 to 12 months worth, but let's build momentum first. That buffer is what removes survival pressure from every deal you close. It's what makes roofing feel like a fun career instead of a panic cycle. Nothing else on this list works without this one piece set in place first. Step 2, set up an allocation system. Every commission check gets divided before you touch it because out of sight means out of spend. Here's a simple starting framework for your next commission. 50% to living expenses, 20% to savings and investing, 25% to taxes, critical for 1099 earners, and 5% to guilt-free spending. The exact percentages can shift based on your situation. You can change it up based on gross or net income, but the structure has to exist. This is actually one piece of a bigger system that I use with reps, but even if this one step gets applied, the entire money situation starts to stabilize. Step 3, lock your lifestyle. Pick a monthly personal spending number and hold it for 90 days, even when a massive month hits. This directly breaks the hedonic adaptation loop we talked about earlier. It keeps fixed expenses from climbing due to you being comfortable at a higher expense level. And it's one of the simplest, most powerful moves a rep can make right now. Step 4, upgrade your identity. Start thinking like a wealth builder, not a check casher. That means tracking, planning, and making intentional decisions instead of reacting to a bank balance. The income is already there. The identity just needs to catch up. And if you want the full system, not just a piece of it, it's all broken down step by step in my Feast Cash Flow course. Be sure to also grab your copy of the Feast or Famine Survival Guide. It's free, and I'll leave a link in the description for you. Let's wrap this up with a bit of perspective. Making $200,000 and feeling broke isn't a money problem. It's a direction problem. The income illusion, variable income anxiety, lifestyle creep, identity lag, no buffer, no system. These aren't character flaws. They're simply patterns. And patterns can be broken the moment you see them clearly. Fix that, and $200,000 finally starts feeling like $200,000. Hey Roof Money Pros, if this video hit home for you, then be sure to subscribe. I'm dropping knowledge and insights every single week for reps who are done just earning and ready to start building. Check out my next video where I'll go over a full breakdown of exactly what it takes to close $500,000 in contract revenue in 90 days. You won't want to miss that one. Thanks for watching, and in the meantime, keep stacking, keep building, and I'll see you in the next one.